Welcome to The Collective, powered by MMP. The ideas presented here are intended to assist in developing a strong and profitable business for Amway IBOs affiliated with Markham Man Productions. For the calendar year 2023, the average income from Amway for all U.S. registered IBOs at the Founders Platinum level and below was $841 before expenses. See www.amway.com/income-disclosure for details and the most up-to-date information. Earnings depend on many factors, including customer base, business experience, effort, dedication, and quality and performance of the downline sales team. Enjoy the following message.
Hey guys, we're Cassie and Eddie Kutnick coming at you from Madison, Wisconsin. And as we were pursuing this community, one thing that we really reflected on and wanted to learn was, what did it take to create success in this environment? And the first thing I think we really had to sit back and analyze and think about was, what does success mean to us? And so I ask you, what does success mean to you? And I think it's important to quantify that, both long term, but also more short term goals along the way. After that, something we had to sit back and realize that creating success, I think, really is just about commitment to a few different areas. And the first of those being committing to a work habit. Anything in life worthwhile takes work. And I don't think this is an unknown thing. This is commonly known, but I do think it takes a different level, a different mentality to really commit to doing that work.
Yeah, I think commitment, Cass, is probably the foundation of success in all things. I mean, if you go into a marriage saying like, well, we'll see how it goes, I think you're probably you're headed for some rough waters in that marriage, right? So same thing with business ownership. If you're heading into business ownership being like, well, if it's fun, if it feels good, if it's like my cup of tea, then I'm going to keep doing it. And if not, well, then maybe I won't. And if you have that, like you got to change. You got to have grit. And grit just means not quitting. So ask yourself, like, am I a quitter? Am I a quitter? Like, has this been a pattern for me in my life? Like when things have been difficult in the past, that I just quit them, that I just walk away. And if that's the case, the next question I guess you might want to ask yourself is, do I want to change? And the beauty is you can change at any given time. You can change. And I think that part of changing is just understanding, what does that really mean? And I remember hearing someone very wise say that the opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is quitting.
Mhm.
And that really helped me get it. I thought that like failure and success were opposites. But the reality is, if you want to create success, you're going to need to fail and fail a lot. There's a ton of failure on the way to creating success. But if you get weary and well doing and you just quit because it was hard, you're never going to create success.
Yeah. I mean, I just think of, we have three young children, and two of them are on the verge of walking. And when they try to walk and fall down, I'm not like, oh man, that's it, they're never going to walk again. I'm like, oh yeah, no, one step closer. So I think a lot of times it's just stepping back and remembering this is just a process of everything in our life is just failing forward, like you said. And another component to that, I think, is just like really what you're saying is, you're committing to yourself, and maybe more importantly, you're committing to your goals and following through on what you tell yourself you're going to do. And sometimes, let's be honest, you set a goal and things just aren't really looking so great as you're getting closer to the end of the timeline. And the question is, do you change the goal? I hope not. Instead, I'd encourage you to step back and say, hey, maybe, what did I not execute on? Maybe there's a different methodology I need to take. Maybe there's a slightly different path. But I think if something really is important to us in any area of life, we don't just give up on the greater goal. It's just about figuring out the path to get there and to achieve.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. I think really, entrepreneur it's a French word, I think. And I think it's French for figure it out. If I had to translate entrepreneur into English, I'm pretty sure it means figure it out. You got to figure it out. You're going to have challenges, and that's just the reality of things. If you have to roll with it, and you have to take a challenge at a time, and you have to put on that solution seeking cap. If you waited to leave for work in the morning until all the lights were green, I think that wouldn't work out super well for you. Same thing. If you wait until the right time for you to start a business, or the right time for you to start your fitness journey, or the right time for you to commit to a relationship, I think you're going to have a hard time. I think you're destined for some rough waters. So you got to figure it out one step at a time. If money is an issue, like we were undergrad students and we were We did not have a lot of money.
I
And
think we
so,
were acquiring debt, actually. Yeah.
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 And so we had to work odd little jobs on the side just so that we could make enough money so that we could fund our businesses. And then in optometry school, money wasn't quite as much as an issue as much as time was. My God, we were so busy. Optometry school was brutal. And so we just needed to get a good plan with our coaches and figure out how to make it work. I think a lot of times we encounter challenges and it makes us feel like we can't do something. But oftentimes, the reason that you feels like you can't do something is the very reason that you need to do it. Then an analogy that's always really stuck out to me is like if you broke your leg and someone said, "Oh my gosh, your leg is broken. We need to go to the hospital." You wouldn't say, "Ah, I can't make it. I just don't think I can do it. My leg is broken. I just can't make it. How am I supposed to get to the hospital? My leg is broken." That sounds silly to you because you would say, obviously, you need to go to the hospital because your leg is broken.
Should be top priority.
That's what it sounds like to Cassie and I when people say, like, "Oh, I'm so busy. I just don't think that I can do anything to create more time in my life so that I'm not so busy in the future." But they don't say it that way, do they? They just say, "Oh, I'm just too busy." And so the question is like, is that an accomplishment or is that a problem? Is that something that you want to change down the road? Okay, well, then if it's something that you want to change, like, what's the plan? So you need to be coachable and you need to have that figured out mentality.
Yeah. I think it's just committing to change, like you said. And that's changing and learning new skill sets, which can feel overwhelming. I think anytime anyone hears the word change, at least for me, I'm like, oh man, no, I'd rather just sit on my couch with my cozy blanket and get all comfortable and sit in it, right? But the reality is, success, you hear it all the time, lies right outside our comfort zone. It's right there. It's so close, but we have to commit to changing, or maybe you need to change the way you look at it. Maybe it's just evolving your skill set. And like Eddie said, a lot of times it's, learning to prioritize our time and our money differently and growing ourself and our skill sets and our mindset. And maybe even most importantly, our leadership potential. And leadership, growing your leadership doesn't just happen. It's a very, very manual thing. And I think if you talk to anybody that's held any type of leadership position, whether it's, a professional sports team, CEO of a company, entrepreneurs, they're going to all tell you the same thing is that they took a lot of time to grow themselves and change and committed to that evolution over time.
Yeah. And then I think another really important quality cast is just being coachable,
Hmm.
leaning into coaching and mentorship because real mentorship doesn't happen when everything is good, when everything's going according to plan. True mentorship happens in the tough times when all the adversity strikes. And, I think it's human nature for us when adversity strikes to kind of become a wounded avoider, right? Or a silent sufferer and just to kind of, withdraw into ourselves and say like, well, I got to put this on the back burner. I got to focus on me. I just got to get through this thing. And once I get through this thing, then, I'll start calling my coach or I know what I need to do. I just got to go do it. Once I get through this thing, I'm going to go do it. But you need to lean into coaching and mentorship in those times of adversity because the same mind that got you into a problem is not going to be able to be the same mind that gets you out of it. So having perspective from your coach is super important. And so it's hard to fill a cup that's already full. You have to have that like, I'm clay, man. I'm mold me, you know? So really leaning into that coaching is key. And then I think just like enjoying the journey.
Yeah, I think enjoying the journey. I mean, for us, we started pursuing entrepreneurship when we were in our undergrad, dating, engagement, married. Now we have 3 kids. We both optometrists by background. We've gone through some life stuff throughout, all those years. And for us, we just realized it's really hard to succeed or commit to something if you don't find some happiness in the journey. And it's easy to think just happiness comes in the end game goal, but I think what you'll find is in this evolution, in this commitment, a lot of joy comes to you because you're pursuing something worthwhile. You're pursuing something purposeful to your life, and that creates fulfillment. So we wish you guys the best of luck, and thank you for letting us share.
This is a copyrighted program of The Collective, powered by Markham Productions, affiliated with Marconet Incorporated. Duplication of this program is strictly prohibited. While the techniques and approaches suggested have worked for others, no one can guarantee that these techniques and approaches will work for you. In addition, we want to emphasize that success in this business does not come without hard work.